The school had borrowed money from the Uganda Energy Fund to buy improved cookers. The old cookers use an open fire and guzzle firewood. The new cookers are far more efficient. The school has to buy less than half the firewood it used to, and this from renewable sources. Fuel wood, or biomass, accounts for over 90% of Uganda's total energy consumption. For decades, it's been called the poor man's energy crisis, and it's still the bane of the lives of the poor in Africa. A recent report by Intermediate Technology has put smoke from wood-fired stoves as the fourth biggest cause of death and disease in the developing world.
The advantages of the cooking stoves is on saving to the parents and the school. It saves money. Why? We usually used to use 12 lorryfuls of firewood, and now we use only 4. We've been destroying the environment, I'm sorry to say the truth. So now the environment is secure. Formerly we had rusty cooking stoves. Now they are hygienic, and it's also faster for the cooks and keeps the food hot and delicious also. The food has become more delicious. I also eat the same food once in a while.
Where possible, polluting energy systems are completely replaced. Solar-powered lights have enormous benefits over kerosene oil lamps. They allow health centers to work at night in a clean, smoke-free environment. During the day, the solar panel can run a fridge, enabling vital life-saving drugs to be available on demand in these remote areas.
For the solar panels, the people who are taking these panels are really from the village up into the mountains. So we are using microfinance institutions, the village banks.
Reaching remote communities and administering what may be quite small sums is not cost-effective for the larger banks. Building partnerships with microfinance banks provided the solution.
The microfinance banks reach the mass better than we can. It's really hard for us to reach down into the people who really need the solar. The young savers who are just trying to, they save something little, 10,000, 20,000 shillings.
Poverty is relative, you know. There are some who are very poor, the poor of the poor, the poorest of the poor, and things like that. But for us, we begin with a loan as small as $20.
The Uganda Microfinance Union now has a growing membership of some 65,000, which is good for the local people and good for the bank.
Poor people can save, and poor people can pay their loans. To us, that is very important, and therefore, they are bankable. They can be good business people, and you can do business with them and do profitable business.
Running a profitable and therefore sustainable banking business is a core principle of the Uganda Energy Fund business model.
Basically, we are here to make a profit on a sustainable basis. So we stand for profit and development. We will only support those businesses that can demonstrate that they are commercially viable, because we want this fund to be revolved over so as to reach as many people as possible. And the only way we can do it is by operating it commercially.
Juma Tegu runs a cooperative farm drying pineapple for the dried fruit market. Juma found he was losing too much fruit and had variable quality, so needed a better, more advanced drying system.
In the beginning, the technology was not very good. We could put our pineapples in the dryer and it could take 2, 4, 3 days to dry. So you find the material comes out brown, which is a reject already. So we lost much in that. We in fact, wanted to come out of the business.
The Uganda Energy Fund enabled Juma to lease modern, energy-efficient solar dryers. Solar cells power the dryer's fans and provide lighting at night.
The new equipment, just a single dryer brings out 10 kilograms, compared to the old one, which brings out 2 kilograms.
However, there is a glut of pineapples in Uganda, and if Juma is to get the best price, He must sell his product abroad, but this is difficult.
Right now, Europe is opening up to African products, except that governments in Africa are not ready to do what the requirements for the European markets, because they want the governments to have laboratories where they can test chemical residue, they can test biological effects on the food and whatever. We are growing organically, but we cannot say we are organic because we don't have the certificate.
Juma's dried pineapple, just like the honey from bee natural products, will fetch a far higher price if they can earn an organic label.
Everybody knows the poverty in rural Africa, leave alone in the urban areas, but in rural Africa there's enormous levels of poverty. There's a plus sign to that poverty, because it means that the farmers in the rural areas cannot afford pesticides. That is of a big advantage, because it means that immediately, whatever honey or beekeeping that they practice, the honey that comes out of it will be organic.
Unfortunately, farmers who cannot afford pesticides cannot afford to test their soil to prove it's organic or meet any of the other EU import requirements. Chemifar Labs in Kampala operates under internationally recognized codes of practice. The Uganda Energy Fund is enabling farmers to access the lab, to have their products analyzed and prove that they have passed the quality threshold.
We are guaranteeing that the quality from northern Uganda, from West Nile, is that quality which conforms to the European standard. HMF, heavy metals, antibiotics and pesticides. Definitely those ones, if we prove that they are within the European standards, then definitely our exports will be allowed.
There isn't a single prosperous country that does not have a secure nationwide power supply. Biomass-dependent countries, such as Uganda, will fall even further behind and become ever more environmentally impoverished until credit and affordable power is on tap. To people like Andrew Mwenda, debates over dams versus solar or grid versus decentralization are a luxury. Power and more of it is needed now. Without it, the poverty and ignorance that gives rise to phenomena such as the Lord's Resistance Army will grow.
By 2012, that's exactly 8 years from now, if we do not increase our power supply, we'll have a shortfall of more than 700 megawatts. So that Uganda needs to urgently address the issue of supply of electricity is a matter of great urgency. We need to produce more electricity.